glorify your Son, that the Son may glorify you, and your will be done. You gave me power over all, to give eternal life to all whom you have given me, the ones for whom I'll fight, that they may be one, as you, Father, are in me, that they may be one in perfect unity. The world will know you sent your Son, by the love they live and show, that they may be one, and all the world will know. I've given them your holy word, and the world has hated them. They're not of this world, O Lord, as I am not of them. Sanctify them in your truth, your word forever stands. As you have sent me to the world, I've sent them by your hands, that they may be one, as you, Father, are in me, that they may be one in perfect unity. The world will know you sent your Son, by the love they live and show, that they may be one, and all the world will know. Father, I desire now that those you've given me may be with me where I am. My glory they shall see. The love you had before the world, you've given now to them. I in them and you in me, forever without end, that they may be one, as you, Father, are in me, that they may be one in perfect unity. The glory you gave, I've given them. Your love will never fade, that they may be one, just as we were made. Oh, I have made your name known, and will make it known again, that the love with which you've loved me may live in them. Amen. There was a man named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews. He came to me one night and said, Rabbi, I know it's true, no one can do these signs you do unless God is with him still. I said, unless one's born again, he cannot see God's will. Truly, truly, I say to you, you must be born again, not of the flesh, but of the Spirit, to see the life within. The wind blows where it wishes, you hear it sound, my friend. So it is with every soul that's born of God within. He said, how can a man be born when he's old in all his ways? I said, unless one's born of water and spirit, he cannot see God's place. That which is born of flesh is flesh, that which is born of spirit is free. Marvel not that I say to you, you must be born of me. Truly, truly, I say to you, you must be born again, not of the flesh, but of the Spirit, to see the life within. The wind blows where it wishes, you hear it sound, my friend. So it is with every soul that's born of God within. Snake, so must the Son of Man be raised. God so loved this broken world, he gave his only son, that all who put their trust in him will have life that's never done. When they came to the place called the skull, there they crucified him, one on his right and one on his left, and Jesus in between them. He lifted his voice and said, Father, forgive them now, they know not what they're doing. Mercy poured out somehow. Forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. Forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. He bore the cross with love unending, grace for me and grace for you. Forgive them, Father. YaHUsHa walked and keep his commandments. He who possesses my commands and guards them, it is he who loves me, and he who loves me shall be loved by my Father, and I shall love him and manifest myself to him. If you love me, keep my commandments. He who possesses my commands and guards them, it is he who loves me, and he who loves me shall be loved by my Father, and I shall love him and manifest myself to him. If you love me, keep my commandments. And this is how we know we love him, that we keep his commandments. And his commandments are not hard to keep, nor are they burdensome. If you love him, you will keep them.
Yes, hallelujah, YaHUsHa.
He who possesses my commands and guards them, it is he who loves me, and he who loves me shall be loved by my Father, and I shall love him and manifest myself to him. If you love me, keep my commandments. Barak YaHUsHa.
Yes, if you love him, you will keep his commandments. And his commandments are not burdensome. They are not hard to keep. All right. Shabbat Shalom, Mishpachah. I had to put a little bit something on my tummy because I think my tummy was speaking louder than me in the last segment. I had to get something in there. I was like, boy, this is over here grumbling and squirming and everything else in my gut. All right. So today is Shabbat, and Derek Blackwell. This is one of the better YouTube channels I found that is teaching the Torah. Thank you, Brother Jay. You're very welcome, Mark. You're very welcome. And all praises to Abba YaHUsHa. He's the one who teaches us. He's the one that gives us the truth. And we have to do his truth. We can do nothing for the truth but be of the truth. So that's my position. That's what I try to do, is to feed the flock, feed the sheep. And just like the song that we just listened to, that we are to feed his sheep. If we say that we love him, we keep his commandments and we feed the sheep the same commandments so that they too may love him and he will manifest himself to us. Hallelujah. YaHUsHa. That's his promise. Simone Hazelnut is downstairs. If I have her over here, I won't be able to get anything done because she'd just be jumping all over the place and be on top of the table and everything else. So I have to keep them separated while I'm doing this. Aki Warren, if you're here, you asked the question, when is Pesach, Passover? Is it the 14th of Abib? Yes, it is. That's what it says in the word. So let me show you on our calendar. Of course, this is last year's calendar, but it's literally going to fall under the same day, except for different day of the week on the pagan calendar. All right, so here we have, this is a printout version of it. I want to thank our Akudi Jackie C for putting this together for us. To the Ata Akudi Jackie C, who is in NYC, in Queens, New York. All right, so first Kadash 1, also known as month 1. And by the way, before I do this, let me take you to the last month. So this is where you're going to see that we had a little boo-boo. A little boo-boo. And what I mean by that is, okay, so actually, so far it's correct. I think we must have corrected it on this one. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, yeah. Okay, so here we are. As you see, it says Shabbat up here, Kadash 12, month 12, 1st of March, pagan day, 1st March. Today is the 14th day of the 12th month. So you would see at the very beginning, the heading, the title, it'll say Q12-Y14. So that Yom 14 or day 14. Okay, so this is the first of the pagan day, March 1st. Okay, but now let's go back to what we're talking about. Back, because we're gonna be celebrating Pesach here in a few weeks, I should say, not a couple, a few weeks. And as you can see here, here's the 14th of Abib. 14, you see it right there. This is the first month, Kadash 1. Okay. It's going to fall on April 2nd again this year. Okay. The only difference is it's not going to be on the same weekday of the pagan day. All right. But it's still going to fall on April 2nd. Okay. And April 2nd this year, on the pagan days of the week, it is going to be, I can't recall, so let me go there. It's going to fall on a Thursday. Okay. So April 2nd is going to fall on a Thursday this year. All right. But that is the day that we celebrate at evening, just like we're told in Exodus chapter 12, Leviticus chapter 23, Deuteronomy chapter 5. We're told that we are to keep it at evening. And so this red line here, for those of you who will be getting a copy of the new one. And again, I have people asking me, hey, can I get the new calendar? No, the new calendar will not be given out until March 20th, which is the first day of the year. Right here, you see it? March 20th. Okay. You guys will be able to get it. We're going to have it on our new website. Our Aki Chris is putting a website together for me. I didn't ask him to, he did it, and I'm thankful. Just like our Akudi Nazareth, she put together the link tree, and it's been beautiful. And with all the hard work that Akudi Nazareth has done, we're still keeping that. It'll have a link to the website, as it does right now. When you put in ambassadorsofyah.com, it directs you to the link tree. Well, later, when you do that, once we have it all set up, ambassadorsofyah.com will take you to our website once we launch it. We will not be launching it until March 20th. That is the first day of the year. Okay. So anybody asking me about the new calendar, you're not going to get it. All right. You're not going to get it until March 20th. Why March 20th? Because even though we already have it pre-written and we have it already set up to go, thanks to our Cody, Jackie C, and also our Aki Yasun Luis out of Fresno, from IA, those the English and the Spanish version will not be available until the first day of the year, because we have to allow the time to show us that it is so. Okay. And as I have shared with you all before, I will be making markings of the sundial starting on the pagan March, I think it's the 16th. Let me go back up and see here. Yes, March 16th through the 21st. So from the 16th to the 21st, I will be making markings of the sundial throughout the day, and I will be going live. And what else? I would hope that you all would do the same in your neck of the woods, so that you can practice on how to find the straight line shadow. Okay, because again, if we're not one of the 144, we're going to have to know this calendar when we're out. Like when we have to flee, society, and we're running out there in the neck of the woods, wherever that is for you, maybe the forest, some of us in the desert, some of us in the mountains, wherever that is that you're fleeing to when that time comes. When we see the abomination that causes desolation occurs, what is the abomination that causes desolation? It will be the third temple and he who is going to go in it to desecrate it, which will be the false Mashiach. When you see this spoken of by the prophet, the Nabi Daniel, he who has ears to hear, let him hear what the Ruach is saying. Then those who are in Yehuda are to flee. And those of you who are out in the field at work, do not go back home to get anything. It's going to happen so fast that you just literally have to take him at his word. Obedience. Step off the pavement and get out of Dodge. You are to hide yourself for a moment while Yahuwah allows this test to come upon the world. So now, you got to know this calendar. You got to know how to keep and know how to read the shadow of the sun. And so I'm going to be doing that coming up March 16th. I'll make sure to let you guys know a day before that I'm going to do that, because it's going to be a Shabbat. The Shabbat will be on the 15th of March. Okay. The very next day is going to be the first, that is going to be the void day. Okay. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Calendar beads. For those of you who have calendar beads. Yeah. And those of you who have sent me an email for the calendar beads, don't worry. We haven't forgot you. We'll make sure to take care of you. Okay. All right. So here we are, the 12th month. I have not updated this one yet. So let me update it. Every gold bead on here is a Shabbat. So today is the Shabbat. Put the tie down above that day so that if you shake it or whatever, you don't lose the date. Yeah. All right. So the very last Shabbat of the year, of the 12th month, let me get this back in order after doing all that shaking. Okay, here we go. So let me blow this up so you guys can all see. This is the last Shabbat of the year. This is going to be what we know as the pagan day, March 15th. This is the void day. That'll be the 16th of March. It'll be a Monday. Okay. Then we have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then the very first day of the year, which is the fourth day of the week. This will be a Friday. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, starting next year, every Shabbat will be on the pagan day, Monday, for the next 52 weeks. All right. So here is a day that I will start making the progression of the sundial as we approach the first day of the year, which is the spring equinox here. And then I'm going to do one more day after it so that we can all see for ourselves that this day is the straight line shadow day. All the rest of these days is going to have an arc in the movement of the sun across the sky from the eastern horizon to the western horizon. So this is how we find our first day of the year. No matter where you live on the earth, this day is going to be a straight line shadow, no matter where you live on the earth. The very next day is going to start bending, and the next day is going to bend even more, and it's going to bend more and more and more, okay? But every Shabbat starting after the spring equinox, if our calculations are correct, and I'm sure it will be, because YaHUsHa is like clockwork, it's going to fall on the pagan day, Monday, for the next 52 weeks. Now, for those of you, like a lot of us, we follow this pagan work week. And the pagan work week says the first day of the week, of the work week, is on a Monday. What are we to do? Knowing that YaHUsHa wants us to celebrate the Shabbat, which now is going to fall on the pagan Monday, what do? We're going to be in disobedience, aren't we? Because we're not keeping it on the right day. This is the same thing that happened to the children of Yasharal when they were in Egypt. They were not able to keep the set-apart day to Abba YaHUsHa. YaHUsHa had to take Masha to bring the children out of Egypt so that they can worship him as he wanted them to worship him. The same thing is happening now. Even though we're in the world, we're not of the world. And many of you have masters over you, your employers. Some of you are not as privy as some of us that have our own businesses where we can make up our own schedules and we can work around Babylon. So for those of you who are not able to work around Babylon, YaHUsHa doesn't say this. I'm saying this, so you know. Again, this is just my opinion. Now, me personally, if I was in someone's position and I work in a place where I know that I have to go to work on a Monday, that's part of my cycle, my program, my schedule, I would go to my employer and let them know, can I please have this day off for the next year? I'll work on all your holidays as long as it doesn't intrude on any of the holidays of my creator. I will be here. You need me to work on Xmas? I'll be there. You need me to be here for Easter? I'm there. Thanksgiving? There. Super Bowl? There. I'm there. Just not on my Abba's days. If they won't accept that, you did what you were supposed to do. Okay, you opened your mouth to your employer and you told your employer you need this day off. Now, once they don't give it to you, you are now free from what's happening because you want to keep it, but your employer will not allow you. You have bills to pay, and the employer will not pay you unless you do what they want. So in this position, he would be Pharaoh. Okay? You are now Masha. You are one of the children of Yasharal. You want to do right, but Pharaoh won't let you. You keep what you can under control. That is in your power. That is in your means. I've shared this before and I'm going to share it again. You know that you're not supposed to cook on the Shabbat, meaning that you don't use fire or you don't prep your food on Shabbat and then cook it. Okay, everything that you eat on Shabbat should already been pre-cooked. Okay, should have already been cooked. All you're doing is warming it up, be it microwave or you got a slow cooker, whatever. Okay, you're using that to warm your food. You don't go out and you don't eat at no restaurant on Shabbat. You don't go get gas on Shabbat. You do no money exchanging, be it on your debit card, on your credit card. You don't be buying stuff on Amazon. You don't go to Etsy to get some YaHUsHa shirt. None of that on Shabbat. You keep all that separated. That day belongs to YaHUsHa. Even if you're at work, You might work at a toll booth and you're over here handling money. That's your job, but you're not the one spending money. These people are. You're there because you have to be there. You don't want to be there by choice. You want to follow Abba Yahuwah's commandments. But if you don't, they're going to let you go and fire you. Now you don't have a job, and now you don't have a home because you can't pay your bills. You can't take care of your children. You can't take care of your four-footed animals. But you want to do what's right before Abba Yahuwah. So do what is in your power. Pull all over your situation. Pull all over your employer. Don't speak evil of your employer. Yahuwah is going to deal with the employer because you're his child. You want to do what's right. So that's my opinion, my understanding, not what Yahuwah is telling you. Yahuwah says the seventh day you are to keep it. You're to keep that day. But again, we see the situation that we're in. Yes, son. Yep. So Shabbat is going to be on a MON day this cycle. Yes. Yes. If the world was perfect, we would all be able to have, and every employer would say, oh, yeah, don't worry, Jimmy, we got you. Go ahead. That's your Shabbat. Yeah, every Monday's your Shabbat. We got you. Some of you probably have an employer that's like that, but not everybody does. Not everybody does. But if you don't open your mouth and you're just going to accept your schedule, oh, but I can't get the day off. You know, did you open your mouth and ask? You're just taking it upon yourself to assume that your employer is going to say no. Let them tell you no. Let them tell you no. That is going to be a witness, a testimony between you, that person, before Abba Yahuwah. Abba, you heard what I asked the person. You heard what I asked my employer, my master, my taskmaster, the Pharaoh. And he would not let me go. Abba says, that's okay, I got you. You just walk in my commandments, but I got you. And that's all you can do. But we don't live in a perfect world. So yes, I would do like what Carmen says. I would if it's an email, I would say it's better to do it in person. You know, people can frown on emails, and you know how text messages work. They don't know the tone of your voice, and it could be misread. They're thinking that you got all this attitude behind your words when you're coming to them all nice and, you know, humble. Excuse me, supervisor. I was wondering if I can have Mondays off from now on. I'll work, one of the weekdays or the weekends. But if you just put it on paper or you put it on email, they thinking you coming to them like you telling them, I need Mondays off. No, you ain't. You ain't getting no Monday off. I'm going to make sure you don't get Monday off or you're going to lose your job. No, you need to go to them directly. You need to speak to them. HR, whoever it is, you need to go to them. Let them tell you, well, we can't do it. If you do, then if you take Mondays off, well, you're going to lose your job. Let them tell you that. You see, there's even protections if you so desire to choose to use it, that they cannot infringe on your worship. Just because they say what days are the days of the week doesn't mean that you have to follow that, because guess what? My creator, who supersedes your employee or employer's handbook telling me that I have to do this and do that, I just want you to know that this is the day that I need off. And if you're not respecting that, then I request a grievance. You might have to go above their head. If you really want it, we can see how far this can go. But again, if at all possible, you are to live with everyone in shalom. But this is one of those commandments that I would do my best to see if I can get it off. And if they say no, you did what you could. You did what you could. Some supervisors don't like you going over their head and saying, well, we'll see about that. I'm going to region. I'm going to your supervisor. No, don't do any of that. Don't speak to them like that. If they're being nasty, or if they fire you right off the bat because you're asking for it, you might have a lawsuit. You might can go ahead and take them to court because they're infringing on your rights as a person who has the right, even in Babylon standards, along with their Babylon rules, they're not supposed to infringe on your worship. Okay, any other questions? Oh yeah, no gym on Shabbat. That's doing your things. Yes, we are not to do what we want on Shabbat. We don't do our desires on Shabbat. What about those of us in schooling, and that includes our youth? Yes, that's a whole nother thing, right, Tanya? That's a big one. And again, this is the society that we live in. Now, if we were to do what we're supposed to do, we as Hebrews, Abrit, we supposed to be having our kids, our children, learn under our roof, and they shouldn't be at a public school. So as long as they're in public school, we done gave the public school the authority and the domain to rule over our children and then say, these are the days that you come into school. But if we was to teach them in our home, they would be lined up with YaHUsHa's calendar. There'll be no problems with that. But we don't do that. Now, again, like some of us, we're going to classes and, we want to better our living standards. Again, understood. But this, again, takes us to a position where we have to ask questions and see if they'll do so. Instructor, it's beyond my ability, but I'm supposed to have Mondays off. It's for religious purposes. Well, I'm sorry. You have to be here for every day of class or you're not going to pass. Okay, you told me what I needed to know. I appreciate that. Now, you go to class, you do what you got to do. Abba Yahuwah, they're not wanting to bend. They're not wanting to allow me to make this day up. I'll do double on Tuesday or double, however, wherever they can fit me in. But nope, they won't take that. I have to be here in attendance on a Monday that I know is your day, Abba. Do not deal with me according to this way. You know my heart. You know I want this day off, but I can't. You're in the middle. You're in a pickle. But this is why I say you need to speak to those people so they know, so that they can say, and that is a witness before it. Not that Yahuwah doesn't know their hearts. He already knows, but you have to go through this motion. You have to go through this. So yes, you have to take it up with your employer, with your instructor, and allow them to say, no, you can't have that day. And you go from there, Cody. Miriam, calendar for blind people. Yes, we already have bead calendars that my YaHUsHa makes that are different shape and sizes for those who are visually impaired, and we do sell those as well. So yes, we've got those already for those who are visually impaired. Yes, a Cody Miriam. Yep. I will make a note of that and let my YaHUsHa know. Yes. Alan Beerwinkle, Shalom, Mishpachah. Can you please explain to me your understanding of Galatians 3? Thank you. Yes, the old Galatians 3. You see, we're not under the law. We're not to do the law. Have you not read Galatians 3? Who has bewitched you? No, I'm not saying that about you, of course. I know which passage you're talking about. But yes, Galatians 3. Let me go there. In fact, let me prop this up here. Give me a second, everyone. All right. Galatians 3. Oh, senseless Galatians, says Shaul, who has put you under a spell, not to, notice the word, obey the truth. If you understand what the truth is, then you know the rest of this chapter and what Shaul is saying. What does it mean to obey the truth? Who is the truth? Anyone? Who is the truth? Or what is the truth? Yes, yes. And both, all of that is right. The Torah, YaHUsHa, the Word, the Mashiach, he is the truth. I am the way, the truth, and the life. He says, your word is truth. Shaul, who is a Pharisee of Pharisees, he knows the Torah. He knows the law. So when he says this here, who has put you under a spell not to obey the truth? The truth is very clear for those who know how to connect the dots. Like this. If we go to John chapter 17, verse 17, it says this. Kadash them apart in your truth. Your word is truth. You see that? Let's connect the dot even more. Let's go to Talim 119, the longest chapter in all of the scriptures. 119, verse 142. What does it say there? Your righteousness is righteousness forever, and your Torah is truth. So when Shaul says, who has put you under a spell not to obey the truth? The mindset of Shaul is the truth is the Torah, and the Torah was manifested in the flesh, and the manifesting of the flesh is the Messiah, and the Messiah says he's the way, the truth, and the life. This is how you connect the dots. So right here at the very beginning, he's saying, who has told you not to obey the Messiah? He even says it right here. Look at this. Who has put you under a spell not to obey the truth, before whose eyes YaHUsHa, the Mashiach, was clearly portrayed, saying that it was very evident. He was the one who was impaled. So he goes on and says, this only do I wish to learn from you. This is what I want to know. Did you receive the Ruach by the works of the law? This is before the Mashiach. This is before the truth. This is before him who came in the flesh. Did you receive the Ruach by the works of the law, or by hearing of belief? Are you so senseless? Are you not with understanding, having begun in the Ruach? You now want to end in the flesh? You think that you can do this in your flesh? It's the Spirit who quickens you. It's the Spirit who gives you the ability to follow the commandments. So he goes on and says, have you suffered so much for nothing? If indeed it was for nothing, to use the word vain, is he then who is supplying the Ruach to you, working miracles among you, doing it by the works of the law? What is he saying here? If you don't believe in the Mashiach by or through the Ruach, by the Spirit, then how is the miracles happening? Is it happening for those who are only keeping Torah? Nope. Nope. That's what he's saying here. Nope. It's not happening like that. It's not happening like that. So he goes on and says, again, is he then who is supplying the Ruach to you and working miracles among you, doing it by the works of the law or by hearing of Amunah, by belief? Even so, Abraham did believe Alua Alahim, and it was reckoned, it was counted unto him as righteousness. So let's stop right there. Did Abraham only believe? Was that it? Was there no action behind his belief? How was it accounted him as righteousness? If you go back and you read the story in Genesis, when this was said to Abraham, it was something that Abraham had to do. He had to show if he was going to be obedient or not. And so what did he do? The Creator, YaHUsHa, said to Abraham, I want you to take your son, your only begotten son, and I want you to take him up to Mount Moriah for me. And there I want you to offer your son to me on an altar. Abraham didn't question it. Abraham saddled up his animals with his servants and his son, with wood and everything else on the back of these donkeys, these mules, and they started trekking towards Mount Moriah. He told his servants, stay here while me and my son go up to the top of this mountain, and we will be back. He didn't say I will be back. He said we will be back. And Abraham did exactly what YaHUsHa told him to do. So much so that his son said, where is the animal that's going to be offered? Abraham's like, turn around, son. I need to bind you up. Don't worry, YaHUsHa shall provide. YaHUsHa, Yireh. I am shall provide. And while he's got his son laying on this altar that he just erected and made, him and his son, and he lifts up his knife and he's getting ready to unalive his son. And what happened? A voice came from the Shamayim. Don't touch the son. Don't touch your boy. I now know that you believe in me. I now know that you trust me. Look behind you, you'll see a ram stuck in the thickets. Go and get him. Offer him up. This is what it was, that it was accounted to him for righteousness. So you see that not only does one need to believe, but one needs to act upon their belief. This is exactly what Yaqub says in his book that they renamed James. Faith, Amunah, without works is dead. It must go hand in hand. So it goes on and says here, even so Abraham did believe Alua Elohim, and it was counted unto him as righteousness. Know then that those who are of belief, of Amunah, are the children of Abraham. And the scripture, that is the Tanakh, Genesis to Malachi, having foreseen that Alua Elohim would declare right the people, the Gentiles, by belief, announced the Barakah, the great news, to Abraham beforehand, saying, all the people, all the different ethnicities of the world shall be Baruch in you. And so it goes on and says here, as I prop this side up, So that those who are of belief, amunah, are baruch with Abraham, the believer. You know the word believe is an action word? It's something that one does, not something one just says. For as many as are the works of the law, notice this, are under the curse. For it has been written, cursed is everyone who does not continue in all that has been written in the book of the law to do them. To do them. So what is the curse? Is the Torah the curse? That's not what it says here, but that's what Christianity teaches. Christianity tells you that the Torah is the curse. Anyone who tries to keep the law, it's a curse unto them. That's what Christianity teaches. But that's not what this word is saying. That's not what Shaul is teaching. Let's continue. You're going to see what the curse is. For as many are as of the works of the law, the Torah, are under, there's the key word there, under the curse. For it has been written, cursed is everyone who does not continue in all that has been written in the book of the Torah to do them. So the curse comes upon a person if they don't do the law. That's what we just read here, all in bold. Curse is everyone who does not continue in all that has been written in the law, the book of the law, to do them. So the curse comes upon you for not keeping the law. And that no one is declared right by the law before Alua Alahim is clear, meaning that it is very evident that nobody is declared righteous by the law. It's clear. For the righteous shall live by amunah, by belief. And the Torah, the law, is not of belief, but the person who does them shall live by them. By what? Not by belief, by the law. It's the same thing that it says up here. Curses everyone who does not continue in all that has been written. This right here, continue in all that has been written, is the one who is to do them. And if they do them, then they shall live. They shall be able to live because they're doing them. So here it says too, written in the book of the law to do them. So if you don't do them, you're going to be cursed. That's what it's saying. And it says again, and the law is not of belief, but the person who does them shall live by them, or shall live because he's doing them. But notice what it says in verse 13 that I have in red asterisk. The Messiah, HaMashiach, redeemed us from the curse of the law. He redeemed us from the curse of the law, having become a curse for us. So if the law is the curse, then how did he become a curse for us if the curse is the law? It doesn't make any sense. He became a curse for us. How did he become a curse for us? Curse is everyone who hangs upon a tree. Why was he hung upon a tree? Because we broke the commandments. And for not keeping the commandments, the outcome is a curse. That's what we was just reading here. Curses everyone who does not continue in all that has been written in the book of the law to do them. If you don't do them, the curse comes upon you. Curse is everyone who hangs upon a tree. So what is the curse? The curse is the death penalty. For the wages of sin, you guys all know this, Romans chapter 6, verse 23. For the wages of transgression, for breaking the law, is death. That's the curse. And this is why we know it the curse. Why? Because the Son, the image, he was hanging upon a tree on our behalf. He became the curse for us breaking the law. Did he not pay for our transgressions? If he paid for our transgressions, then he took it upon himself to become our curse. So he redeemed us. He saved us from the curse of not keeping the law. That's what it means that we are no longer under the law. It doesn't mean that you are no longer to keep the law. It means you're no longer under the curse, the death penalty for not keeping the law. So the Messiah became the death penalty on our behalf. He who knew no sin became sin for us. He paid the price. He became that fancy word that they like to use, propitiation. He paid the penalty for us. What is the tree? Well, there you would find your pagan word cross. But you see, cross predates Christianity, and Christianity picked up this image called the cross that predates Christianity all the way back to Babylon. The word cross was given to us as an image. The letter T, we call it the cross. In the Hebrew, it's the ta. In order that the barakah of Abraham might come upon the people, the Gentiles, in the Messiah YaHUsHa to receive the promise of the Ruach through belief. So how does one get salvation? It first starts off by believing. You believe who the Messiah is. Who's the Messiah? He is Yahuwah manifested in the flesh. Only the Messiah can walk a sinless life. No one is perfect, no, not one, except he who descended from the Shama. He is the one who took upon the form of a man, of a person, of his creation, humbled himself all the way to the tree, even to the death of the tree, that by it he may save us from the curse of not keeping the law. Brethren, as a person, I say it, an agreement, even though it is a person's agreement, yet if it is confirmed, no one sets it aside or adds to it. So he's saying right there, when an agreement is made, it can't be nullified, it can't be abolished, it can't be destroyed. You can't add to it, and you can't set it aside. But the promises were spoken to Abraham and to his seed, singular. He does not say, and to seeds as of many, but as of one, and to your seed, who is HaMashiach, the Messiah. Now this I say, the law that came 430 years later from what? From Abraham's time, does not annul, does not abolish, does not void out the agreement previously confirmed by the Creator in the Messiah, so as to do away with the promise. A promise is a promise, and a promise shall be kept, because Yahuwah is a promise keeper. For if the inheritance is by the law, it is no longer by promise. Why? Because the law was given 430 years later. But he spoke this promise before the law was given by the hand of Masha to the children of Yasharal at the foot of Mount Sinai. So it goes on and say, why then the law? It was added because of transgressions, because of our sin nature, until the seed should come to whom the promise was made. What promise? And to your seed. And to your seed. So we see here, it says, and it was ordained through messengers, through angels, in the hand of a mediator. The mediator, however, is not of one, but the mighty one is one. He's not a trinity. He is not a twinity. He's not two. He's one. Is the law then against the promises of Alua Alahim? Let it not be. On the contrary. For if the law had been given that was able to make us alive, meaning to give us everlasting life, if it was able to be done through the law, truly righteousness would have been by the law. But Yahuwah didn't give us a way out. He says, here's my commandments. You are to do them. If you don't do them, the day that you break the least of one of these commandments, just one time, just break it one time and see what I do to you. Death. You will be under the curse for not keeping the law. Death penalty shall come upon you. So this is why he says there was no way, he did not give us an avenue through the law to inherit everlasting life. So now check this out. But the scripture, that is Genesis to Malachi, not Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, all the way to Revelation, the scripture, because what has been written here in Galatians was not pen to paper yet. There was no New Testament when Shaul said this to those that were in Galatia. He was talking about Genesis to Malachi. But Genesis to Malachi has shut up all mankind under transgression of the law. That's what sin is. That the promise by belief in YaHUsHa the Messiah might be given to those who believe. What was the promise? What was the promise? The promise was believing in the Messiah to finish the work that we couldn't do, that he is going to walk and live a sinless life, and that he is able to pay our penalty for us on our behalf. Has nothing to do with the law being done away with. It had everything to do with him fulfilling it. This is why he says, I did not come to destroy the law or the prophets. Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. He says, I did not come to destroy. That would be to nullify. That would be to void. That would be to abolish the law. He says, I didn't come to do any of that. He says, I came here to complete it. I came here to fulfill it. I came here to do my mission that was given to me before the foundation of the world was even laid out. This was spoken before the world was even formed, before anything came to be. This plan to save humanity was already in the works. But before belief came, we were being guarded under the law. We were being kept under the law, having been shut up for the belief being about to be revealed. The belief that was about to be revealed. What is that belief? The obedience in believing in the Messiah and his finished work. Therefore, the law became our trainer, our tutor unto the Messiah, in order to be declared right by amunah, by belief. And after belief has come, after you realize how this is supposed to be walked out, we are no longer under a trainer. We are no longer under a tutor. We are no longer under someone to tell us how to do this. Why? For you are all children of Yahuwah Elohim through your belief, your obedience in the Messiah YaHUsHa. So what is being told to us here? This is why the Messiah says, deny yourself, pick up your stake, and follow me. I'm going to show you how to do this. Before, all you had was the law. You had no one that you can use as an example because everyone has transgressed. Everyone has broken the law. So you can't look to Moses. You can't look to Abraham. You can't look to Isaac. You can't look to Jacob. You can't look to the 12 sons of Jacob. Everybody has fallen short. But when the Mashiach came, he showed you how to walk it out. He showed you how to walk this thing called amunah, faith, belief. So I like to liken it to a person who says, you know what? I'm ready to drive. Okay, well, before you get on these streets, before you unalive yourself or unalive others, I need you to read this manual. It's the rules of the road. Now, I want you to study it now. This is going to be your teacher. This is going to be your guide. Study this book, this manual. And you study it, and you study it, and you study it. Okay, Dad or Mom, I think I'm ready for the test now. Okay, well, we're going to do the written test first. We're going to see if you knew or you know what you just read. We're going to see if you understand the Torah, the law. Okay, Mommy. So you read it. You take the test. You passed. But you're not done yet. Now, here comes the instructor. Here comes the Messiah. Okay, Jimmy, let's see if you know what the law is. Now, I just showed you how to do it. I showed you, I've been showing you all these years how to drive. But now I want to see if you know how to drive. Okay, Daddy. You get in the car seat. You buckle up. You check your mirrors. You do all the things that you got to do before you have to drive, your pre-inspection. And then Daddy says, okay, let's hit the streets. Let's see if you know what you're doing. You go out there and you pass flying colors. Daddy's happy. Yay, the instructor is happy. Now, if we take the Christian mentality, say, okay, here's your license. Now you can drive. I don't need that. What do you mean you don't need that? Because you did it for me, Daddy. You did it for me, instructor. So give me the keys. I can drive however I want to drive. I'm going to drive on these streets, these freeways, go backwards if I want to. I'm going to make my own rules because you know why? The Messiah, the instructor, did it for me. And the whole time you're out there driving, not only putting yourself in danger, but you're putting other people in danger. So you are not loving your neighbor as yourself because you don't care about your neighbor. You're driving reckless. You're driving lawless. Come on, somebody. Do you guys understand what I'm trying to tell you here? Do you understand what Shaul is saying here in chapter 3 of Galatia? He is not telling you that the law has been done away with and now you can be lawless and walk however you want. He's saying that you don't need to be under a tutor no more. Why? Because you graduated. Now do it. Walk it out. Walk like you are a graduate. Stop walking like you somebody who done messed up and don't know what's going from the right to the left and you just driving however you want to drive because you done passed. Because your instructor did it for you. It's not what he's saying here. So he says, for you are all children of Alua Elohim through the belief, through Amunah in the Messiah YaHUsHa, meaning that because you know him, now you are one of his children. And if you're one of his children, then you know how he walked. So you're walking because you're one of his children. You're doing the same thing as your daddy was doing. You are doing his desires. You're doing his will, not your own. Not living blasphemous, not being independent man or independent woman. To be independent means that you're separated. It means that you are a rebel. So then, for as many of you who were immersed into the Messiah have put on the Messiah, meaning that you are now under that umbrella, that protection. You're under his guide. By the Ruach. You are a rebel. That's how you put on the Mashiach. The Ruach comes in and manifests himself in your life. And so when that happens, there is no Yahudi or Greek. There is no slave or free. There is no male or female. You are all one in the Messiah YaHUsHa. People like to use this verse 28 and say, see, a woman can preach. A woman can teach. No one's saying that a woman can't preach or teach. There's order. And a woman can preach and teach, but there's order. This is just saying here that when we put on the Messiah, there is no one who says, I'm better than you. Or because I'm a man, you are under me, woman. Or because I'm a Yahudi and you are a Gentile, that I'm over you, Gentile. No. We're all the same in the eyes of Yahuwah. And if you are of the Messiah, then you are a seed of Abraham and heirs according to the promise. And that is Galatians chapter 3. Any other questions? Any other comments? You're very welcome, Alan. You're very welcome. Let's see here. Reigning reigns. You say false. A woman is not to preach. Again, a woman is able to preach, but not in a setting of when we're doing appointed times before Yahuwah. We have been given the instructions through the examples of the Levitical priesthood. Okay. But that doesn't mean a woman can't teach other women. A woman is the first teacher of a child if she actually does her job. She's the one who's supposed to be raising the child up in the ways of Yahuwah. That's a child's first teacher, is the mom. And then later, when the child gets old enough, they're handed over to the dad, especially the boys. But to say that a woman is not allowed to preach, that goes against the word. Do you know what a prophetess is? Reigning reign? A prophetess is one who preaches. So you're going to say that there's no prophetess? Some of us get it a little twisted. And yes, when you get to that level, yes, you're being a male chauvinist. Let me show you how dedicated women are compared to us men. Okay? And in case you don't know, my voice is that of a man. All right. Out of all the disciples, the Mashiach did not choose one woman to be one of the 12. However, when the shepherd was struck, the prophecy was that the sheep shall be scattered. He says, all of you shall leave me. He was talking about his inner circle, the 12. But guess who stuck around? It was the women. All the Marys, all the women, they weren't afraid. Here it is. The Mashiach showed himself to these men, his inner circle, for 3.5 years. Did they go and want to anoint his body and put myrrh and spices upon his body? Nope, not one. Soon as the Shabbat was almost over, who goes over there to the tomb? Not one of them was a man. Not one of them was a man. They were all in hiding, scared, petrified, hiding out. But not the women. While he was over there breathing his last breath on the tree, all them women were there. The only one of the 12 that stayed there was Thomas. All the rest of them left, or was it John? I can't remember which one it is now. It might have been John. So I say that to say this. We all have our part. Abba Yahuwah loves us all, and he's given us all a mission to do. He did not make women for battle. He made us men for battle. He did not make us men for rearing up children. He has made women to rear up children. He has not made women to preach to the masses. He made us men to do that. But that does not mean a woman cannot preach and teach when the time comes. I'll give you an example. If there was only a woman who knew the truth and she came into a prison, to a man's prison, like one of our Akkodis, walks up into a man's prison, works in the man's prison, and none of the men in that prison know the truth, but she knows the truth. Is she to keep silent and not share the truth to them just because they're men? That's an actual, I mean, that's a question. Is she supposed to keep her mouth shut? She's not supposed to say anything to these men in this prison who don't know this truth, even though she knows the truth. That's right. She's supposed to share. She better tell that word, or their blood is going to be required at her hands. So you can see where a woman is to be needed. The Basora, the great news, knows no gender. So what, a person can't speak because of their gender? Really? Are we that shallow? It was Johannan. Thank you, Lauren. So I share that because one of our cooties, Janine, works in a men's prison. And she shares not only with the prisoners, but also her co-workers. And are we going to say, oh, she ain't supposed to be preaching? That's what it means to be sent. One who is sent. That's what a preacher does. Nobody said she's a pastor. But she can definitely preach and teach. If she don't, the rocks would cry out. Any other questions or comments? Lauren, no, a woman is not to be a pastor. To be a pastor is a shepherd. We use the word pastor, pastor, pasture, one who guards the pasture. No. A pastor or a shepherd is to be a man. CQ, you silly. Lachey, you say, do anyone know why the tribe of Dan isn't mentioned in Revelation 7, the book of chapter? That's, again, there's a lot of speculations of why the tribe of Dan is not spoken of in the list of the 144,000 of the 12 tribes. Some people believe, and again, this is all speculation. Nobody really knows why. Some people say, oh, it's because they did this and they played the harlot. They all played the harlot, every last one of them. And it says YaHUsHa was more treacherous than her own sister, Yasharal. So if that was the case, then YaHUsHa should have been taken out. But that's not the case. So I don't know the answer to that question. I'm sure one day we'll know. Cody Jackie C, you said you have a question. Could you kindly share with us what you meant when you said the Abrit language is perfect? I believe it was yesterday, or did I misinterpret it? So the original language, the language of creation, is Abrit, the pure language, the Kadash Lashon, as we're told in Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 9. That is the pure language. Now, the corrupt Hebrew that we have today is not that pure language. Yiddish is what they call it today. And that has been Germanicized. It has this germ of Germanic phrases. Okay. These Germanic phrases give you stuff like Elohim, Adonai, Yahweh, and a lot of slew of other words that they mispronounce, like Yaakov. They give you all these V's. There's no V in Hebrew. Okay. There's no letter called W, which is a double U. Okay. We have a U in Hebrew already. We don't need a double U. W is one of the newest letters, a little bit older than the letter J, but nonetheless is very new in the English alphabet. So we see that the true Abrit, and we won't have the full context of the true Abrit until he cracks that sky and gives us that language again. But we have lost that true language. And it's for a purpose, it's for a reason. Because with all the stuff that's going on in this world, there's no way Abba Yahuwah can give us that Kadash Lashon while we're in this world that belongs to Satan. But he's given us his name, and that's with that pure language. He's given us some words that is going to carry us through until he cracks that sky. But when that time comes, when he truly removes all the words of the Balaam out of our mouth, he says, no longer are you going to call me Baal or Bali, my Lord. He says, you're not going to use that phrase anymore. We're going to call him Aish, my husband. And so we look forward to that day. And so as we continue to learn the Abrit pronunciation, we may not have it correctly. The fact of the matter is you're doing it. And there's certain words that he has given us clues of how to pronounce. This is why we know his name is not Yahweh. There is no way in Yahweh. There is no way in Hebrew. There's no W-E-H in Hebrew, in any word. This is what has been fed to us. And so we have people that want us to say, you know, when they would say, what's that one word that's slipping my mind right now? That's a Yiddish word. Oh man, I can't even think of it. It'll come to me when I'm not thinking so hard. But they gave us so many words that if you don't check it, you're going to be pronouncing it just like them. Oh, that's what it was. Tov. Okay, Tov. T-O-V. T-O-V. There's no O and there's no V in Taub. Taub. T-A-U-B is the way we would spell it out. Pronunciation, same. T-A-U-B. Taub. But these Germanic people gave us Tov. So we say Boker Tov. I mean, it's almost like somebody speaking Spanish with still pronouncing it like they're speaking English. Como te llama? They don't know how to, or nor do they want to pronounce it properly. So they sound like a gringo when they say it. Como se llama? Como te llama? Yes, exactly, Cody Stella. Ahava is not the pronunciation. That is Yiddish. Ahaba. Ahaba is the true pronunciation. And so again, it goes to a person wanting to do what is correct. And so, yes, the pure language is Abrit, which people have renamed Hebrew. Abrit. That is the original pure language that one day, again, we will all speak. But for right now, we have all these different languages, just like it says in the book of Revelation. What does it say in the book of Revelation? It says this. And it reads, let me see here. Oh, I done passed it. I think it's chapter 5, and I went all the way to 20. Yes, chapter 5. Notice what it says here in chapter 5. Verse 9, chapter 5, verse 9. And they sang a renewed song, saying, you are worthy to take the scroll and to open its seals, because you were slain. We're talking about the Mashiach. and have redeemed, there's that word again, redeemed us, saved us, to Alua Elohim by your blood, out of every tribe, tongue, language, people, and nation. So every family, language, people, and ethnicity. So we see here, no matter what your language is, even this Babylonianized English that we speak, he's going to save us from all these languages. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, Aki, I will definitely speak on that here. Okay, so someone is asking about, and again, here's another one of these crazy teachings that's going on around there, talking about the heavenly family is the Father, the Son, and the HOLY Spirit. That is the mother. How many of you have heard this or believe this? If you believe that the Holy Spirit, as they would say it in Christianity, we don't call it Holy Spirit, it's Ruach HaKodesh. If you believe that the Ruach HaKodesh is female, give me a 1. If you believe that the Ruach HaKodesh is a woman or a female, the mother of us all, give me a 1. YaH's chosen daughter, you believe so? Okay. Abba Father, you believe so? Okay. All right. So now, I'm going to show you a couple of scriptures that's going to show you exactly who and what the Spirit is. First, we're going to go to John. Let's go to John, Yohanan chapter 4. And it reads, verse 23, 4:23, John. But the hour is coming, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and truth. For the Father also does seek such to worship him. Alua Elohim is spirit, and those who worship him need to worship in spirit and truth. So right here we see that the Spirit, even if you don't believe that it's the Father, because the Spirit is the Father and the Father is the Spirit, those who worship him, again, Alua Elohim is spirit, and those who worship him. So we see the subject matter, and we see what is being told to us about the subject matter, about him being the Spirit. Is telling you the gender right here of what the Spirit is. Alua Elohim is spirit, and those who worship him need to worship in spirit and in truth. So there's one witness. Okay, we're going to stay in this book called John. We're going to go to chapter 14. Make it very clear for you. John chapter 14, verse 26. But when the Helper, the Ruach HaKodesh, yours may say HOLY Spirit, whom the Father shall send in my name, he, not she, he shall teach you. Who's going to be sent in his name? The Ruach HaKodesh. He shall teach you. It doesn't say she shall teach you. He, the Spirit, shall teach you all and remind you of all that I have said to you. But it doesn't stop there. John chapter 15, verse 26. And when the Helper comes, whom I shall send to you from the Father, the Spirit of the truth, who comes from the Father, he shall bear witness of me. He shall bear witness of me. Not she, he. Okay? I just gave you 3 different verses that showed you all 3 times that the Spirit is classified as a he and not a she. Those, mostly women, mostly sisters, who want to believe that the HOLY Spirit is the mother, and they have this heavenly family called the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit being the mother, is contrary to Scripture. Number one, they're splitting up who the creator is, and he is one. He's revealed himself as one. He told us that he is one. So if you're looking at it any other way, you're missing the point. Now, I know where they get this kind of teaching from. It's because they have misinterpreted the book of Proverbs. Why did they misinterpret the book of Proverbs? Because they see there it talks about wisdom being a woman. But you see what they don't seem to recognize? Let me take you to Proverbs. It's talking about two different women in the book of Proverbs. It's talking about two different women in the book of Proverbs. Let me show you the woman that is first talked about. My son, chapter 6, verse 20. Watch over your father's commandment, and do not forsake the law of your mother. Bind them on your heart always. Tie them around your neck. When you are walking about, it leads you. When you lie down, it guards you. And when you have woken up, it talks to you. For the commandment is a lamp, and the Torah is a light, and reproves and disciplines a way of life, to guard you against an evil woman, religion. From the flattering tongue of a strange woman. Do not desire her prettiness in her heart, neither let her captivate you with her eyelids. For because of a whore, one is brought to the crust of bread, and an adulteress hunts a precious life. Would a man take fire of his bosom, and his garments not be burned? Would a man walk on hot coals, and his feet not be scorched? So is he who goes into his neighbor's wife. None who touches her goes unpunished. This is talking about the strange woman, the strange wisdom. You see, all wisdom isn't this virtuous woman that it talks about in chapter 31 of the book of Proverbs. You see? Who does find a capable wife? For she is worth far more than rubies. The heart of her husband shall trust in her, or trust her, and he has no lack of gain. She shall do him great and not evil all the days of her life. She shall seek wool and flax, and with delight she works with her hands. She shall be like the ships of Tarshish. She brings in her food from afar. She also rises while it is still night, and provides food for her household, and what is lawful for her girls. She shall consider a field and buy it. For her profits she shall plant a vineyard. She shall gird herself with strength, and strength her arms. She shall taste when her gain is perfect. Her lamp does not go out by night. She shall stretch out her hands to the staff, and her hand shall hold the spindle. She shall extend her hand to the poor. She shall reach out her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of snow for her household, for all her household is dressed in scarlet. She shall make tapestries for herself. She is dressed in fine linen and purple. Her husband is known in the gates. Her Messiah, her husband, her YaHUsHa, is known in the gates. When she sits among the elders of the land, she shall make fine linen and sell them, and shall give girdles for the merchants. This is a virtuous woman. But this woman, the adulteress, this is strange wisdom. This isn't talking about a spirit. This is talking about information. The true wisdom, the true instructions, the true knowledge of wisdom, it comes from Yahuwah. He says he founded the earth because of wisdom. Where do you think the words come from? It comes from him. He is the source. They're his words. They're his wisdom. My thoughts are not your thoughts. My ways are not your ways. He didn't say my wife is not your wife. He never speaks of his spirit outside of himself because it is him. He is the Ruach. So I hope none of you continue on with that understanding that the spirit is the mother. That is not scriptural. That is not biblical. And that is not the teachings of the Mashiach. What other questions do we have? David Redmond, yes, you got a lot of Arizona folks up in here and Nevada folks in here, and you got a couple from New Mexico. I don't know of any from Utah. Where are you from, David Redmond? You're in Kingman, Arizona. Ooh, we got a Cody right there in Kingman. Tracy Lynn. A Cody Tracy Lynn. She lives in Kingman. Mm-hmm. You said you ready to move, yeah. Okay. Michael, you say, why do I hear to rebuke demons and to not rebuke demons? I desire to know. Michael, we as people cannot rebuke demons. YaHUsHa is the one who rebukes demons. So you don't say, I rebuke you in the name of YaHUsHa. You say, YaHUsHa rebukes you. YaHUsHa rebukes you. It is now time for the Arab Palal. Let us go ahead and get ready to pray here. Heavenly Abba, we come before you at this time of the Arab Palal, the evening prayer. Abba, as the sun goes down on another day here on the West Coast, we ask, O Abba, that you would barak each and every one of us with your wisdom, with your knowledge. Keep us in your instructions, O Yah. Abba, we give you thanks for this Yom, for this Shabbat, that you have given us to remember what you have done in creation. For in 6 days you created the Shamayim and the Arats, and on that 7th day you rested from all your works. Abba, we look forward to the day when we can too rest from all of our works, so that we may be able to spend the eternity with you, ruling and reigning with you, O Abba, even though none of us deserve it. And you have given us gifts and promises that we do not deserve. And yet we thank you for it, O Abba. Help us to not be tossed to and fro by every wind of doctrine that we hear others sharing, O Abba. May you take us into your word and show us your truth and reveal to us where we have gone wrong and have gone astray with the doctrines and the teachings of men. We continue to palaw for our Akis and our Kodis all around the world who call upon your most precious name, who seek your face. We also palaw for our friends and our families and our coworkers who don't know you, O Abba. We will continue to bring them before you, hoping that it is your desire to open up their eyes as well as you have opened up ours, so that they too may dwell in your sight forever. This is our prayer and our petition at this time of the Ra Palah. In YaHUsHa's mighty name we pray. Hallelujah, YaHUwah, Hallelujah, YaHUwah, and Hallelujah, YaHUwah. Amat. Okay. So we have, let's see here, about an hour and a half to go. So if there's anything that anyone wants to bring up, let's see what it is that YaHUwah is going to reveal to us. I know it's all about Abba, but Shaul said, I command you, come out. Was he wrong? Nick Davis, when you say come out, you need to give me a little more context. What is it that Shaul said that we need to come out of? Come out of what? What is it that you're wondering about, Nicole? You need to bring it out for me as well. Don, that's a great question. Okay, Michael, so you're saying casting out of a demonic spirit when Shaul casted out a demonic spirit. So again, we know that casting out of demons is to be done in YaHUsHa's name. That's different than rebuking. Rebuke is a strong correct. All right. So it's different. Rebuking and casting out a demon is two different things. Now somebody said, let's see here. Why did the Talmudim not recognize YaHUsHa? That's what it was, Don. Okay. So why didn't they recognize? Well, in that passage, and I can't remember exactly which Basora it was, if you can have us go there, but he cloaked himself before them. And it says that when he was speaking to them, he opened their eyes. So he literally purposely caused them to not be able to recognize him. He did that. And then when it was moment that he wanted to reveal himself, he then allowed them to see who he was. Yeah, so like I was saying, Nick Davis, those are two different things. Him saying come out, which is he's speaking to a demon, is different than, again, a rebuke. A rebuke and casting out are two totally different things. He has given us the ability to speak to demons, to cast them out. Okay, but again, it's all under his authority. It's in the authority of the name, not us. It's in the authority of the name. Thank you, Mr. Kane. Luke 24:27. Yes. Yeah, he opened their eyes, and so they weren't able to see who he was until he decided for them to see him. 24:27. Yes, to that time. And this is another powerful passage here too, because he's literally telling you that all of the scriptures is speaking about him. And beginning at Masha, that would be Genesis, and all the prophets, that would be all the way to Malachi. He was explaining to them in all the scriptures, again, Genesis to Malachi, the matters concerning himself. And so it's verse 31 here. It says here, and their eyes were open and they recognized him, and he disappeared from their sight. So it was up until that point, they had no idea that they were talking to the Messiah until he opened their eyes and they recognized him. And just when they recognized him, he disappeared. Bloop. Just like that. They're and this is what they said to each other afterwards. And they said to each other, was not our hearts burning within us as he was speaking to us on the way? And as he was opening the scriptures to us, or opening the understanding of what the scriptures meant? All of this is letting you know, again, he's talking about himself, that he is what was written in the scriptures. He is the messenger of YaHUsHa. He is the one who was wrestling and not who I heard somebody say that what was it, Enoch or somebody was wrestling with Jacob in the thicket of, man, come on, stop it. Even Yaqub said, he called the place Pina'al, which means I've seen the face of the mighty one. He didn't say I saw the face of Enoch. It's so funny. David, you say why? You say you're curious. Why is today Shabbat with y'all? Honestly ask. Okay, so I appreciate you asking that question. It has to do with the true calendar. You see, the calendar that we've been given, which is connected to uh, the Gregorian calendar. They use Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That is the product of Rome. If you go back and you look at the history of the Roman calendar, there was a time when they had a 10-day week calendar. Like literally there was 10 days before it started over again. And then they changed it to 8 days, and then they changed it to 7 days. 7 days is the one that we're on now, the Gregorian calendar. Well, with all that being done, it was already prophesied that we were going to lose the true calendar. That true calendar was restored to us when we found the Dead Sea Scrolls, specifically the scroll of Jubilees and the scroll of Enoch. Now, those two books have been around with the Ethiopians for a very long time, but even they have corrupted themselves to where they're keeping a 13-month calendar. Where did all of this come from? It came from these people who call themselves Jews and are not Jews. And so you even see some of the other people, those that find themselves in certain areas of Africa who can trace their lineage back to the children of Yasharal. They're using the Star of David. They didn't have that. They started using that when they saw these people who call themselves Jews and are not Jews, who started using the Star of Ranfan that they call the Star of David. Well, that same Star of David, the Star of Ranfan, the 6-pointed star, hence the number 6, is the same star that is equated with Saturn. This is why the Sabbath day is connected to Saturn's day. And we know who Saturn is. Saturn is Satan. And so what are they doing from Friday evening to Saturday evening, when a day begins at sunrise and not when the sun goes down? You see, this is exactly what Satan has done. He's perverted the truth. Now, for me to go into this whole spiel of why Saturn's day is not the true Shabbat, it's going to be some hours, my friend. So I will say this. If you stick around, you'll find out with us. We do have a calendar. The calendar is based on Enoch, based on Jubilees, also based on the Dead Sea Scrolls, using a sundial. Our days are to be connected to the sun, not to the moon, but to the sun. And these Jewish people are following what is called the Hillel 2 calendar. This was a calendar that they received, I should say, yes, that they received, the Jewish people, they received it from the true Jews, and the true Jews got it from the Babylonians. So you might be saying, well, who's the true Jews? I know who the Babylonians are, but I probably thought, you're probably saying, well, I thought those people who are Jews are the Jews. No, those people who call themselves Jews are not Jews. They are Europeans. They even call themselves Ashkenazi Jews. Ashkenazi is a bloodline from Gomer. Gomer comes from Japheth. You can read about that in the tables of the nations in Genesis chapter 10. But for the sake of time, they received the Talmud from our ancestors, the melanated true Jews who were taken into captivity into Babylon back in the 560 BC era by Nebuchadnezzar. When they returned to Jerusalem by King Xerxes of Media Persia, the Syrian, they brought with them this Babylonian calendar. They started changing all of that. And to make matters worse, Antiochus Epiphanes, who was a Grecian, an Assyrian king, he also made it worse by telling the Jews who would steal, the true Jews, the Yahudim, who knew the true calendar, that they were no longer to keep the Shabbat. And so a war commenced. Antiochus Epiphanes and his army won at that time, and they set up an image to Zeus, and they slaughtered a pig on the altar of YaHUsHa, desecrating the altar and desecrating the temple. Well, the Maccabean revolt happened after that. So Maccabees and his sons, you know about this story. This is where we get Hanukkah. Hanukkah, which is the rededication, which is actually Ha-Kanak, which is the same word as Enoch. Enoch or Kanak or Kanuk means dedicated, dedicated, rededicate, the dedication, the festival of lights that they renamed that you find in the New Testament. All of this caused confusion with the calendar. This is why John the Immerser, also known as John the Baptist, and his disciples, who would later become the disciples of the Messiah, they separated themselves from the temple. John, who was legitimately supposed to be the high priest that year, he was out there immersing people in the Jordan River. They were keeping the true calendar. This is where we get the Dead Sea Scrolls from. The Messiah did not go from Nazareth straight to Jerusalem to be anointed by the high priest Caiaphas. He went to John. Why to John? Because John's dad, Zechariah, was the high priest before him. And the priesthood follows father to son, father to son, father to son. So the Messiah went to John the Immerser to be immersed, to be anointed as the true Mashiach. So they were keeping the true calendar. This is why you keep reading in the New Testament. And it came to the time of the festival of the Jews, the high day of the Jews. Why didn't it say the high days that was given to Masha? The high days, the appointed times of YaHUsHa. No, it says it was the time of the Jews because they were on a different calendar. And so here we are, almost 2,000 years later, when this Bedouin shepherd boy in 1945 one of his sheep ran up into one of these caves west of the Dead Sea. He goes to go after there to scare his sheep out of the cave, so the story goes. He throws a rock in there and he hears something that sounds like potsherds breaking. He walks up in there and he finds a whole bunch of clay jars with stuff stuffed in them. He runs back out, gets his dad. They come over there and he shows his dad what he sees. And the rest is history. We get copies of the Book of Enoch, copies of the Book of Jubilees, copies of the Copper Scroll, copies of the War and Peace, or not War and Peace, the Scroll of War, of the Sons of Light and the Sons of Darkness, the Scroll of the Giants, every book in the Old Testament except for the Book of Esther. And some people believe it's because it has to do with Ishtar, and that wasn't the real name of Esther. And they named it Esther, which is Ishtar, where we get Ashtoreth, Astarte, Easter, Statue of Liberty. And so now I had to take you through all of that to show you, now that we have the true calendar that has been restored, when we read the Dead Sea Scroll, let me show you one passage. Here you see before you the complete Dead Sea Scroll in English, translated with an introduction by Giza Vermes. But let me show you what it says here. I have it earmarked. I'm just trying to remember which one it is. Okay. This is fragment number 4Q400. To the master of the Song of the Holocaust of the first Sabbath on the 4th of the first month. On the 4th of the first month. So let me show you this. Now, notice again, it's talking about the first Sabbath. The first Sabbath of the year is on the 4th day of the first month. On the 4th of the first month. Now you have to do some reverse engineering. Here is the first month, Kadash 1. It says the first Sabbath, you see here, Shabbat. Here's the number 4. You can see it faded. So you got 1, 2, 3, and then you have 4. This is the first Sabbath of the year. But what is it connected to? How do we know that the first Sabbath of the year, besides what we read in the Dead Sea Scroll parchment, 4Q400 to be exact, is the 4th day of the first month? If we backtrack, we find out it's connected to the spring equinox. The one day all over the earth where the sun, using a sundial, goes across the sky in a straight line. In a straight line. When you know that day, the 4th day of that month after the equinox, that's going to be your first Sabbath. Why is it 4 days later? Because of what it says in Genesis chapter 1, verse 14 to 19. Let me take you there. Genesis chapter 1, 14 says this. And Elohim Elohim said, let lights come to be in the expanse of the heavens, to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs, appointed times, and for days, that's your days of the week, and years. So let me ask you a question, David, and it's rhetorical. The Saturday that people believe is the 7th day. Can you or anyone, any scholar, biblical scholar, anyone who studies even anything, whatever it is, can they equate what they know as the Sabbath that they call Saturday? Can you show me how it's connected to these lights in the sky that tells you that that day is the Sabbath day? Because he says here in verse 14, these lights, they're to be for signs, appointed times, for days and years. And to this very day, David, no one, you say yes, you can show me that Saturday is connected to the sun. Can you show me that? How do you know that what you know as Saturday is the Sabbath day using the sun, the S-U-N? You can't, right? Okay. I misunderstood when you said yes earlier. Exactly. That's the point, right? We can't find, Shalom, Aki, Matthew, Aki Swank Swank. We can't find, oh, yes, for somebody else. Okay, thank you for the clarification, David. So we can't find how Saturday, that they have called the Sabbath day, is connected to the sun. But I can show you through the Dead Sea Scroll, through Jubilees, and through Enoch, that's exactly how we find the Sabbath day. That's exactly how we find the Sabbath day. Let me show you another one. Look at this right here. This is fragment number. Excuse me, I was about to say fabric. I can't even say it now. I just messed myself up. Fragment. Okay. Fragment number 4Q320. And it says here, on the fourth day in the week, the sons of Gamul, this is the priestly line, is the first month of the first year. Notice that on the first day of the week, on the fourth day of the week, in the first month of the first of the year. So this is telling you the fourth day of the week is the first day of the year. The fourth day of the week is the first day of the year. Why is the fourth day of the week the first day of the year? Because of what we just read in Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. Notice what it says here. I know it's a little big. Let me back it up. And Yahuwah Elohim said, let lights come to be in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day and the night, and let them be for signs, appointed times, and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the expanse of the heavens to give light on the earth. And it came to be so. And Yahuwah Elohim made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, we know that as the S-U-N, and the lesser light to rule the night, we know that as the moon, and the stars. Yahuwah Elohim set them in the expanse or the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And Yahuwah Elohim saw that it was right, and there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, the fourth day. This is why the first day of the year is to land on the fourth day of the week. Because when he set those lights up in the sky, it was spring equinox. He literally started the beginning of the year right here on the fourth day. But you'd be saying like, wait a minute, but there was 3 more days before that. Why didn't he start the year here? He started the week here, but he started the first day of the year. And so the Dead Sea Scrolls, John being one of the people that was out there in that wilderness, their records are telling us the fourth day of the week is the first day of the month of the year. And so this is how it looks on our calendar. Yom means day in Hebrew. First day, he created and said, let there be light. Second day, he separated the waters from the waters. Third day, he planted the trees and all the other plants and the herbs. Fourth day, he created the sun, moon, and the stars. For what? For signs and appointed times, and for days and for years. This is why this is the beginning of the year right here. And this is what they understood, and they wrote it down for us to realize and recognize. This is how you're going to find your Sabbath. So, David, I can put you in a cave, which you can't do that with the Gregorian calendar, the calendar that we all follow right now. I cannot put you in a cave and say, David, I'm going to put you in this cave, and you're not going to know how many days you're going to be in there. You might not even know if it's 1 day, 2 day, 3 days, because you're going to be literally light deprivation of light. You won't know if it's daytime or nighttime because you're in a cave. You won't be able to see a sliver of light. Now, let's just say we put you in there for more than 10 days. We roll back the stone and say, David, come forth. David comes forth. David, tell us what day it is. What day of the week is it? You're going to be like, I don't know, man. I've been in there for who knows how long. I don't know when the sun came up and when the sun went down. Well, if you know YaHUsHa's calendar and how to use a sundial, you will know within 91 days, no more than 91 days, if you know how to read the sundial, no more than 91 days, you'll be back on track. 91 days is a full quarter. That's 3 months, according to scripture. The book of Enoch, chapter 72, it tells you every season has 91 days, and there's 4 seasons in a year. So if you multiply 91 times 4 for 4 seasons, you come out to 364. That is the exact calendar that we are to count. We are to only have a 364-day calendar count. Even though the sun has a cycle of 365 and a quarter days, but we're to keep a 364-day count on our calendar because 364 is perfectly divisible by 7. 7 times 52 gives you exactly 364. YaHUsHa works in numbers. And the only way you can find the true Shabbat is you need to know when is the first day of the year, or when is one of the solstices, or one of the equinoxes. So the equinox and the solstices both happen twice a year. You have the spring equinox and you have the autumn equinox or the fall equinox. You have the summer solstice and you have the winter solstice. Knowing those 4 days, you'll be able to find the Shabbat, because 3 days later is going to be a Shabbat of those 4 signs of the year. That's how precise the sun is. It goes out to run its race, to do its circuit. And this is why we know that our Sabbath right now is on a Sunday, because this past year, which we're almost coming up to the beginning of the year again at spring equinox, this past year, the equinox landed on, I have to backtrack now, Thursday. It landed on a Thursday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay. This year coming up, this is going to land on a Friday. Spring equinox is going to be on a Friday. Saturday, Sunday, next year, after the spring equinox, our Shabbat is going to move to a Monday for the next 52 weeks until the next spring equinox. It's going to be on a Monday on the pagan calendar. So now you would say, but why is it moving? It's supposed to move. We have a dead calendar called the Gregorian calendar. Everything is stagnant. But you see, when YaHUsHa does things, everything that he does is alive. His calendar is not flesh and blood. It's not walking around speaking. It's speaking to us differently. But it moves with the sun, the moon, and the stars. That's the whole reason why he created the sun, moon, and the stars. It was for what? For signs, appointed times, for days, and for years. But we have been given a dead calendar by dead people who are going to be the walking dead, who are going to be thrown into the lake of fire. And Satan was the one who gave us his dead calendar. And hence, that's what we're all following right now. So that is a quick run up of why we know that we're on the true calendar. And we thank our Abba YaHUsHa for revealing it to his people once again, so that we can keep the 4th commandment. You see, you can't keep his 4th commandment if we don't know the true calendar. You got people saying, oh, the day starts in the evening. You got people saying it's from Friday to Saturday. You got some people thinking it's Wednesday every Wednesday, and they're going to keep it like that. You got people who are following the moon, saying that it changes every 28 days. It's just ridiculous. This is what the confusion is all about, and it comes from Satan. But we're not sons of darkness nor of the night. We are sons of the day, sons of the light. And we keep a light calendar, not a dark one. People can call it lunisolar all they want, but they're really following a lunar calendar. Ain't nothing solar about it. So I guess somebody came up in here. Watchman, you say 28 times 13 equals 64, right? Again, you're following the moon cycles, my friend. Let me show you something, Watchman. I don't know if you want to believe it or not, but let's see if you do. Most of the time, people who are lunatics, they can't listen because they are lunatics. They don't want to believe it because they think they have to follow the moon. But let me show you the book of Jubilees. Let's see if you believe what I'm about to read to you. This is the test. Let's see if you fail. First of all, let me take you to Jubilees chapter 2. Notice what it says here in Jubilees chapter 2. Verse 8. And on the fourth day, there goes that number 4 again, he created the sun and the moon and the stars, and set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon all the earth, and to rule over the day and the night, and divide the light from the darkness. Okay, you see that? Now check this out. And YaHUsHa appointed the sun, not the moon, not the phases of the moon, the sun to be a great sign on the earth. Notice this, check this out, for days and for Sabbaths. What? Wait, hold on. Let me read that again. Alua Elohim appointed the sun, not the moon, to be a great sign on the earth for days and for years, or excuse me, Sabbaths, and for months, and for feasts, the Moadim, and for years, and for Sabbath of years, or 7-year periods, the Shabuah, the Shemitah years, and Jubilees or Yobalim, the 50-year periods, and for all the seasons of the years, your spring, your summer, your fall, your winter. He appointed the sun for all these things that are listed here, and one of them being the Shabbat, and another one being your months. Well, the sun, and not the moon, the sun gives you 12 months perfectly. 30, 30, 31, 30, 30, 31, 30, 30, 31, 30, 30, 31. That's 12 months, 364 days. Nowhere do you see here that it talks about the moon. I'm going to show you what it says about the moon and why we're not to use the moon to calculate our months, to calculate our Sabbaths, or to use it for our feast days. But again, some people just don't want to hear the truth, and they want to continue to follow the lie. Notice what it says here, chapter 6, starting at verse 36, and we're going to read it down to the bottom of the chapter. For there will be those who will surely make observations of the moon, how it disturbs the seasons and comes in from year to year, 10 days too soon. For this reason, what reason? For making observations of the moon. The years will come upon them when they will disturb the order and make an abominable day, the day of testimony, and an unclean day, a feast day. And they will confound all the days. They will confuse all the days, the set apart with the unclean, and the unclean with the set apart. For they will go wrong as to the months. Why? Because they're making observations of the moon. They will go wrong as to the Sabbaths. Why? Again, because they're making observations of the moon. They were going wrong as to the feast days. Why? Again, because they're making observations of the moon. They'll go wrong as to the Jubilees because they're making observations of the moon. For this reason, because they're making observations of the moon, I command and testify to you, Moses, that you may testify to them, the children of Yasharah. For after your death, Moses, the children of Israel will disturb them, so they will not make the year 364 days only. And for this reason, they will go wrong as to the new months, not moons. Even this translator messed up and put the word moons there. It should say months. Rosh Kadash. It doesn't say Rosh Yerach. Rosh Yurok would be new moon. Rosh Kadash means new months. They would go wrong as to the seasons. They would go wrong as to the Sabbaths. They would go wrong as to the festival days, the Moadim, the appointed times. And they would eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh. So then, watchmen, yeah, you see that, right? Again, are you going to believe what you're reading here? Or are you going to say no? Let me show you another witness. Let's go to the book of Enoch. Talks about this 364-day calendar in the book of Enoch too. Look at this beautiful thing right here. Chapter 72. 72, the astronomical book, right? Notice what it says here in verse 4. And first there goes out this great luminary named the sun, and his circumference is like the circumference of the heaven, and he is quite filled with illuminating and heating fire. The chariot on which he ascends, the sun, the sun ascends, the wind drives, and the sun goes down from the heaven and returns through the north in order to reach the east, and is so guided that it comes to the appropriate portal and shines in the face of the heaven. In this way, he, the sun, the sun, rises in the first month. Notice it says the first month. In the great portal. What portal? Which is the fourth portal. That is the fourth portal of the sixth in the east. In that fourth portal from which the sun rises, or that which the sun rises, in the first month are 12 window openings. That has to do with the season, the heat and the cold and all of that. Verse 8, when the sun rises in the heaven, he comes out through that fourth portal. Notice the number 4. Remember, we start the year on the 4th day of the year, okay? But it's also coming out of the fourth portal. It's also the fourth commandment. Remember the Sabbath and to keep it set apart. He didn't make it the third commandment. He didn't make it the fifth commandment. He made it the fourth commandment for a reason. So we know that it is the sun. And when did he make the sun and the moon and the stars? On the 4th day. So not only is the sun created on the 4th day, not only is the sun created on the 4th day, but it's coming out of the fourth portal. And not only is the sun coming out of the fourth portal, but we connect it to the Sabbath, which is the fourth commandment. Can you say, what? Amazing, isn't it? So here we see that this is the first month. It comes up 30 days. Right here. When the sun rises in the heaven, he comes out through that fourth portal, 30 sunrises, 30 Bakors. Then he goes to the next one. Talks about the second month. And it says the same thing. And the sun rises from that fourth portal and sets in the fourth portal and returns through the fifth portal in the east for 30 sunrises. That's the second month of the year. And then it says, and it returns to the east and enters into the sixth portal and rises and sets in the sixth portal, 31 days on account of its sign. What's this 31st day on account of its sign? It's called the summer solstice. Okay, it's when the sun, if you live north of the equator, it's the highest the sun will be up in the sky at midday. It's at its height, the zenith. Okay, the pinnacle is at the very top. And it degrades from that point going towards what we know as winter. Okay, that's when the days start to become shorter and the nights become longer. So that is the third month. And then it goes and it speaks about another 30 days. That's the fourth month. And another 30 days. That's the fifth month. And then another 31 days on account of its sign. That's the autumn equinox. Visible all over the earth. That's the sixth month. Then you have the 7th month, 30 mornings. Then you have the 8th month, 30 mornings. And then you have the 9th month, 31 mornings on account of its sign. What is that? The winter solstice. Then you have the 10th month, 30 mornings. 11th month, 30 mornings. Then you have, again, the very last month, the 12th month, 31 mornings on account of its sign. It's the spring equinox. It starts all over again. So you see there's no 13 months. There's only 12. Yeah, makes you think, right, Watchmen? That's what I did when I first came into this. I was like, what? Here I am following the phases of the moon, but I have you to question yourself and myself and even the scriptures. Do you ever recall, Watchmen, reading anywhere Genesis to Revelation, or any of the Apocryphas about a 13th month? Do you ever recalling seeing someone saying, oh, the new moon has been sighted? It's the beginning of a new month. Anywhere from Genesis to Revelation? Nope. You're not going to find it. What we have inherited, watchmen, is the teachings of the Babylonians. The Babylonians were under a lunar calendar. They have 13 months. They follow the phases of the moon every 7 days, times 4, making it 28. And just like Yasun the Nazarene says, very clear, we see the number 12 many times. There are 12 constellations. There are 12 sons of Yaqub. There are 12 disciples. There's going to be 12 fruits on the tree of life that's going to bear fruit every month. So again, either we believe what we're reading in these books that have been saved in these caves for our posterity, which is another witness to the Ethiopian Bible, because they've had Enoch and the Book of Jubilees for centuries. It was the Roman Catholic Church, the Western Church, that hid the truth from us because they wanted to control time. They wanted to control the calendar. They wanted to give us their Greco-Roman calendar, and that's what the world is following. And so Yahuwah gave us over to the Gentiles to learn their way. This is why we're here, watchmen, is to open up these lies that has been told to us throughout the centuries, and he has now restored it unto his people. It's not me. I'm no one special. None of us in here are special other than that he loves us, and we're special to him. So when I use the word special, I'm just saying that I am of no means of a person that's smart. I am not a person who went to a theological seminary, because if I did, I would be teaching you Christianity. I would have told you that the Messiah was raised on a Sunday. And he wasn't raised on a Sunday. He was raised on a Shabbat, at the very beginning of Shabbat. But they lie all that, and they change the words, and they get you to believe what they want you to see. But if you understand what he told us, he said, no sign shall be given you except for the sign of Jonah. As Jonah was in the belly of the fish for 3 days and 3 nights, so shall the image of Adam be in the belly of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights. And I can show you from the true calendar, his word was true. Let me show you this. Passover. Many people were like, oh, he died on Passover. He did die on Passover, but the Passover carried on over into the 15th. The Passover was to begin at evening. The day begins when the sun comes up. But this feast, Pesach, starts in the evening, specifically at evening. He wasn't unalived on this day. Remember, Matthew chapter 26, he ate the Pesach with his 12 disciples, and one of them was going to betray him. He was taken that night to Caiaphas, to the Sanhedrin. The next day, Caiaphas handed him over to Pontius Pilate. Now it's daytime. This is when he was getting stripped. They were whipping him, ripping out his beard, and then they unalived him around 12 noon, thereabouts. He gave up his spirit at 3 p.m. The first night in the grave. Second night in the grave. Third night in the grave. Now let's back up. He said 3 days and 3 nights, right? Remember, he was put on the tree here. We're not counting this day. First day in the grave. Second day in the grave. And he said on the third day he would rise again. This would be that third day. Shabbat. Not no Good Friday, and then Saturday that they call the fake Shabbat, and then Sunday. He raised on Sunday. That's not even full 3 days and full 3 nights. He told us 3 days and 3 nights, just like Jonah was in the belly of the fish for 3 days and 3 nights. But Christians and Christianity, they don't want to see it. They want to believe what the Roman Catholic Mother Church gave them about good old Friday and Saturday, thinking that that is the true Sabbath, and he slept and rested on the Sabbath and came back awoke on the first day of the week. What gibberish is this? That's all Roman. That's all Roman. He came out that grave at the very beginning of Shabbat. This is why when the Marys came, as it was still dark, and as the Sabbath was coming to a close, his body was already out of there. They got there while it was still Sabbath, and his body wasn't there. Let me show you. Matthew chapter 28. Notice what it says here. Matthew 28, verse 1. But late in the Sabbath, as it was dawning into day 1 of the week, right there, when you read the King James Version, they mess you up. Let me show you. Let's go to King Jimmy. Let's see how they twisted the words, the lying pens of the scribes, as it says in Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8. Look at this here. Would you look at this? In the end of the Sabbath didn't end yet. They want you to believe that the Sabbath end because they want you to believe in the S-O-N, who is the S-U-N, and they are solar worshipers. That's why Resurrection Sunday is always on a Sunday. Let me ask y'all a question. Is your birthday always on the same day of the week? If you was born on a Tuesday, when your birthday comes around, is it always on a Tuesday? No. Then how in the world was the Messiah resurrected every Sunday of every year? Doesn't even make sense, but we don't think outside the box. We just continue to believe what they done fed us because we're just like sheep, dumb as rocks, and we're just going to follow what they tell us. Okay, he was raised on a Sunday. Oh, no, we don't call it Easter anymore. We know that's pagan. We call it Resurrection Sunday. You still wrong. You still wrong. Because it didn't happen on a Sunday. And it's not every Sunday that the Passover lands on a Sunday. So they lied to you. They changed the wording here. And they put again, in the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn towards the first. Which one is it? You can't say that it's the end of the Sabbath and at the same time you're saying as it began dawn towards the first day of the week. Either it's the first day of the week or it is still Sabbath. Which one is it? You can't say that the Sabbath is over and it is about to become the first day of the week. What's this gap here? What is the gap between the Sabbath and it began as it began to dawn? Doesn't make sense. Because King Jimmy done lied to you. Just like Christianity done lied to us. So again, true translation, but late in the Sabbath, as it was dawning into day 1 of the week, Miriam from Magdala and the other Mary came to see the tomb. When did they come? Late in the Sabbath. It was about to dawn to the first day of the week, meaning the day begins when that sun comes up over the horizon. Once that sun comes over that horizon, you are now done with that day and you're going into the next day. This is exactly what you see in Genesis. Let me take you there. Verse 5, and Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and there came to be evening. That's a process of time. The evening wasn't the beginning. It came to be evening. That means something happened before the evening came to be. Those of you who remember your English class, came to be is a prepositional phrase. prepositional phrase, meaning that it's prepping you to what is about to occur. What is about to occur? The evening is about to occur. It came to be evening. So that means something happened before evening and it came to be morning. Notice it ends in the morning. It doesn't say, and it came to be evening, and then it came to be evening one day. If it was evening to evening, then you would have an argument that the day begins in the evening and it ends in the evening. But that's not what it says here. It says it came to be evening. Come on, remove the spell, remove the spell off of your eyes. You see that right there. It came to be morning. Day one was complete. The day ends in the morning. And right after that sun comes up, the second day begins. That is the work. He split the waters from the waters. And it came to be evening. He was done with his work. Just like when you're done with your work, you don't put in your 9 to 5. It came to be evening. It's time to clock out and go home. Then once you get home, you eat your dinner, you take a shower. It's time to rest. It's nighttime, not evening. It is now night. It's darkness. And while you're sleeping, now it's coming to be morning. Now you're going to wake up, get dressed, and you're going to walk out that door as that sun is coming up over the horizon. Now you're going into day 2. Same thing right here, Matthew chapter 28, verse 1. But late in the Sabbath, meaning that the Sabbath is about to end, the sun is getting ready to rise, dawn to the first day of the week. The Messiah was already gone. They said that the stone was already rolled back and there was an angel sitting on it. He said, don't be afraid. I know who you're seeking. YaHUsHa, who was impaled. He is not here. When did this happen? Late in the Sabbath. So sometime before late in the Sabbath, YaHUsHa came out that grave. He came out that tomb. When did he come out that tomb? Just like we have been foretold at the beginning of the millennium. The millennium, a day is 1,000 years, 1,000 years is a day. He spoke the end from the beginning. Every day of creation is symbolic of 1,000 years of human history. After 6 days, after 6,000 years. What is after 6,000 years? We go into the millennium. When are we resurrected? At the middle of the millennium or at the end of the millennium? No, we're resurrected at the beginning of the millennium. That is called the day of Yahuwah. You pagans call it the Lord's Day. We don't use that terminology because we don't call our creator Baal. Baal is Lord. Lord is Baal. That's not his name. He is not the Lord. You got many lords, like a landlord or the House of Lords in Great Britain. You know what I'm saying? Lord Balfour, who gave these fake people who call themselves Jews and are not Jews a so-called promised land, a home that they call the state of Israel. Yeah, James Balfour. He is called the Lord Balfour. Huh? Lord Rothschild. You heard of the Rothschilds. They all call themselves Lord. Lord Rothschild. So here it is, right in our face. He was resurrected at the beginning. How beautiful when you see the truth right in your face. Again, we've been lied to about the calendar. And even though this ain't about a calendar study today, I'm just showing you just some of the things that we have been lied to about his resurrection, when he was resurrected, how this all happened, when it occurred. If you walk it through from Matthew chapter 26 all the way to Matthew 27 or 28, you'll see the 3 days and 3 nights, clear as day. But they don't teach you that because they're going to tell you, oh, well, the Passover was Friday evening when the sun went down. This is the problem with a lot of us. Some of us don't want to see it. But those who want to see it, he'll open up the eyes of your understanding. It's not for everyone. I say this time and time again, every week, week in and week out. The only ones who are able to see this is when he opens your eyes to see it because you are hungry for the truth. If you're not hungry for the truth and you're stuck in your tradition, he ain't going to give you eyes to see nor ears to hear, because if he does, then he has to save you. But since he's not going to open up your eyes and open up your ears, you are not going to be saved. So I would probably, if I was you, for those of you, you know who you are, who are stubborn and stiff-necked, hard-headed, you might want to get down on your stiff knees and you want to bend that back and you want to prostrate yourself before him, asking him humbly to show you the truth. But it's not going to be fun on that day. When you've been walking around thinking you knew the truth all this time, only to find out that you have been deceived. There's no excuse for being deceived. You did it to yourself. Just like Adam. My wife deceived me. No. Don't blame it on Kahua. Eve is not your problem. Your problem is with my instructions. I gave it to you, Adam. I told you not to eat from this tree, Adam. So don't tell me your wife deceived you. You deceived yourself. And so it is with everyone who wants to be led by a blind guide. You want to hold their hand? You want to hold the hand of your preacher, your teacher, your minister, your reverend, your evangelist? By all means, go right on ahead and clench those hands. Hold them with both hands. Maybe you won't fall into the ditch with them, but you will, because the blind leads the blind, and they both are going to fall into the lake of fire. All of these things are happening with this one generation. And I am looking so forward to the day that he cracks that sky, when all this mess is going to be done. This world is literally sitting on a powder keg. And Abba Yahuwah is about to allow it to be unleashed. We need to be careful. We need to be very careful. All right, so we got about it. Wow, that time has gone by so fast. I could have just sworn I said we had an hour and a half to go. Here it is. We only got about 30 minutes left. It's amazing how fast time goes on Shabbat. It seems like we just come together and the next thing you know, it's over. Yes, Treese. Time be flying. It literally be flying. Okay, somebody had a question about the steak. Okay, what was the question? I'm sorry I missed it. What is the question? Yes, it is, JSO. It goes by so fast when we're learning the truth. Can't get enough of it. We can eat steak, no pig. Okay, Aki Kane. Where there will be a repeat of this gathering. Will there be a repeat of this gathering? Akudi Lupe, great to see you. Shabbat Shalom to you, Akudi. Can you explain yourself? What do you mean by a repeat of this gathering? Mm-hmm. Oh, while we're waiting for this information, he was asking if, oh, that went by so fast. He was asking if it was a hue tree. I tried explaining it wasn't a cross. Yeah, it wasn't a cross. It was a stake, a log, a straight up and down piece of timber. Well, let me show you this way. Let's go to the Strong's Concordance. Yeah, let's go there. And let's go to YaHUsHa, also known as Matthew. And we're going to go to 27. And let me see here. I'm trying to find here. Oh, let me just put it in the search engine. Give me a second here, you guys. So the word for cross comes from a Greek, okay, because we're dealing with the New Testament where they didn't give us any of the translations from the Hebrew, but they gave us, and even in the Greek, it doesn't say cross, okay? That was given to us by the Catholics. So let me take you here. All right. Matthew chapter 10, verse 38. Yeah. So let me show you here. You see where it has cross? G4716. Greek number G4716. You see that right there? Staros is where we get the word stake or post. Okay. It's set upright. That is specifically a pole. Now they put here or cross, an instrument of capital punishment, figuratively exposure of death, that is self-denial, by implication, the atonement of the Christ, and then they put the word cross. But all throughout the scripture, it said that Sheba and onyx, stop it. Or I should say hazel, not Sheba. Hazelnut. Okay. We just read earlier from Galatians, and I want to show you this because it was literally quoting how the Messiah was going to be unalive for us. Messiah redeemed us from the curse of the law, having become a curse for us, for it is written, cursed is everyone who hangs upon a tree. He was hung upon a tree. Now, when you think of a tree, you're thinking of, it's got branches, it's got leaves. No, it's talking about where the law comes from. It comes from a tree. Okay. This is quoted from what you know as Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 23. Right? Now, in the King James Version, let me show you this, because that was out of the scriptures. Let's go to King Jimmy. Galatians before Ephesians, chapter 3, okay, verse 13. Will you look at this? Where did I just put there it is. The Messiah has redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us, for it is written. Notice they're quoting again. It is written, cursed is everyone who hangs on a tree. He wasn't on a cross. The cross is the pagan symbol. That is the image of the beast. The cross was given to us, David, by Rome. This is why Constantine said, in this image, in this sign, you are to conquer. This is where you get the Rothschild. Rothschild is a German word, okay? It's a German word where we get the Yiddish language. Roth, red, child, shield, red shield. This is what the Crusaders was using to conquer and to conquer. This was their shield. The red shield, Rothschild. This is why, if you ever see a Swiss Army knife or any watches that were made in Switzerland, this is what you see, a red shield. This is why Switzerland was a neutral country where they had all the Swiss banks. And on both sides of Switzerland, south of Switzerland is Italy, north of Switzerland is Austria and Germany. World War I and World War II was going all around Switzerland, but nothing was being touched in Switzerland. I wonder why. Because that was the home of the Rothschilds. It was where all their banks were. This is why everybody would put their money in Swiss bank accounts. So you might want to rethink the cross. The cross is the image of the beast. And Christianity has taken it upon themselves to make for themselves an image that defies the second commandment. You are to not make any graven idols or images, anything above in the heavens, anything here upon the earth, a cross, or anything under the earth. You are not to bow down to them nor worship them. And go into every Christian church on a Sunday or a Wednesday, and what are you going to see on the pulpit, behind the stage, on the steeple, on their houses, on their skin, on their rearview mirrors? You're going to see the image of the beast, the cross. These people are evil and wicked. And these people don't want you to know the truth. They want you to stay in your slumber, your sleep, where you are not awake. The whole time you're looking for the beast system to come in its image, and it's been in front of us for almost 2,000 years. They changed up all the teachings. They changed up everything that we were not to do. They made us do it. Oh, you don't have to worry about the Sabbath. Here's the Sabbath now. It's Sunday, the day of the sun, the invincible sun, Sol Invictus. And then the Jewish people tell you, yeah, the Sabbath is actually on Saturn's day, connected to the six-pointed star. Why do you think Saturn is connected to Sabbath day? And then they say, oh, well, in 120 different languages, all of their seventh day has a form of Sabbath in it, like Spanish, sábado. They're just telling you the name of the seventh day, but they're using that name and connecting it to the 7 days of the week of the Roman system. Yes, the seventh day is Sabbath, but it's not the way you're keeping it. And all those other 120 languages that have Sabbath in their seventh day, they're using it the wrong way because they're counting it with the Gregorian system, saying that Sunday is the first day and Sabado or Saturn day or Sabbath day is on a Saturday. It's not. If you know the true calendar and how it is connected to the sun, the sun, you'll know that every seventh day, as we've been told by the Roman Catholic Church, is not the Sabbath day. Satan has hidden layers of the truth with layers of lies. Just when you think you've peeled that one skin layer of that onion and you're like, aha, I done found the truth. Nope, you got to pull that skin off too. And you're like, aha, I done found it. Nope, you got to peel that one off too. Satan he done got a whole bunch of different lies upon lies upon lies, and you got to go through all of it to get to the truth. So for those of you who still want to claim and clutch your cross and make the sign of the cross on your face and on your shoulders and on your belly button up to your forehead, by all means, you continue to do your pagan practices, because that is the image of jealousy, according to the book of Ezekiel. And Yahuwah, you're causing him to jealousy by giving him an image that he already gave you an image of himself. This is why he says you are not to make for yourself any graven idols or images. Why? Because I gave you an image of myself. I came in the flesh of myself. You don't make an image of me. You don't know what I look like. And yet you're going to allow the Pope and the bishops and the cardinals and those who are of the Renaissance to tell you, here's your image of the Messiah. Here's the Shroud of Turin. Look, you see the elongated nose, you see the long hair, you can see the blood spikes on his forehead. Yeah, this is your Jesus. And many of you believe it because you are not walking by faith, you're walking by sight. You're looking at the cross and you don't even want to see how far back the history of the cross goes. Do you know how far back the history of the cross goes? It goes all the way back to Tammuz. That's where it comes from. It comes from the first letter in his name, the letter T. Why do you think the T is in the shape of a cross? Oh, that should be two M's. Tammuz. They're crying over Tammuz. That's what your whole Lent season is. Your 40 days of Lent has to do with crying over Tammuz. There's nothing new under the sun. And the Catholics picked it up from the Babylonians. And they put that mark on their forehead, the mark of the beast, the image of the beast on their forehead, Ash Wednesday. And they carry it all the way to so-called Palm Sunday. None of this is in Scripture. There's no Ash Wednesday in Scripture. There's no Palm Sunday in Scripture. There's no Good Friday in Scripture. All of that is pagan. And until you remove the paganism out of this teaching, you are mixing truth with lies. You're taking what is clean and you're mixing it with the unclean. And Yahuwah says you are not to do that with his word. And yet that's exactly what Christianity does every single day that it exists until he destroys it. That's why John marveled when he saw the woman. What? They took the teachings of the Messiah and they turned it into this? That's why he was shocked when he saw the woman. The woman is the Roman Catholic Church, and she has many daughters. She's the mother of harlots. That is the Protestant denominations. They've all been taught the Jesus Christ imagery with the cross, with Sunday worship, breaking the commandments, telling them that the commandments have been done away with, telling you that the first pope, when there is no pope, there's no such thing of that in Scripture, that Peter was the first pope, and they changed his name to Pater. Pater, father, papa. His name is Kappa, which means little stone in Hebrew. And so they lied to us about who the people are of the book, told us that it's these curly locks who are from Europe. The environment that they moved to tells on them, just like the people who moved down to Australia or South Africa or here in the desert southwest of the United States. They got to put on sunscreen because that's not their place of origin, but they want you to believe it. Then they're going around having to pluck out holes in their skin because they've been laying out like raisins, worshiping the sun, putting on all kinds of oil and stuff on their skin, just magnifying the intensity of the sun. No wonder why they're getting skin cancer. So again, Even the environment tells on them. But you can't tell this to people who don't know this truth. They believe what Hollywood has depicted all the people to look like. Like what's the guy's name? Charleston Heston playing Moses. Got everybody believing that the Egyptians were white, even though you can look at it on all the hieroglyphics that they're dark, melanated people. They are of Ham after all, and everybody believes that the Hamites are dark. They want to call it the curse of Ham when they look at those of us that are dark and say, yeah, you got the curse of Ham on you. That's why y'all became slaves. That's not what the book says. We became slaves because of disobedience. The children of Shem were also melanated. The only ones who weren't melanated were the Yaphites. And it doesn't matter what the color of your paint job is, but what does matter is true historical evidence. These people have gone so far to hide the imagery of the people of the book. Just like it says in Psalm chapter 83, that they were going to erase us from off the face of the earth. There is a conspiracy amongst those who are in power, the Rothschilds, who call themselves Jews and are not. The same ones who run everything in the Western societies, from your politics to your sports to your Hollywood to your financial sectors to your AI technology, you name it, they're at the top. The same people who say that, oh, we were part of the Holocaust and 6 million of us got unalived. And if you question the narrative, oh, you're an anti-Semite. And they're not even Shemites. They're Japhites. And 6 million of them did not go into no big old gas chamber. But you can't tell these people that because they want you to be, ooh, the Jewish people almost got exterminated. Well, then you tell me how is it that they, from 1948, World War II, to 2026, running everything on this earth. You know why? Because they've been running it for thousands of years. Satan has given them the power. They are the followers of Satan, and Satan can give them the kingdom to whomever he chooses, and he chose that bloodline. He chose that bloodline. And this is why we have the wordings that we have today. White is right, black is wrong. Black is evil. Dark is wrong. Dark is evil. Dark is dirty. And they're teaching this to kids, and the kids look, and they've done studies on having kids, even black girls, as they call it, black girls, show them two dolls, one that's white or Caucasian and one that is melanated like themselves. Which one do you want, LaShonda? I want the white one. Why did you pick the white one, LaShonda? Because it's pretty. It's taught to them from a very young age what is pretty and what is not pretty. You can look it up for yourself. Look it up on YouTube. You'll see it. There's a woman who did a study on role reversals. We're not talking about male and females. We're talking about black and white, Caucasians and melanated. I can't remember this lady's name, but she said, okay, raise of hands. How many of you today wish to be black and African American? She's talking to all these white folks in this audience. Not one of them would raise their hand. And this woman said, you know why you didn't raise your hand? Because you know what they had to go through. You don't want to be associated with them. And it's true. This is what they've done. It even says in the book, I'm going to show you. I'd rather show you than tell you. I think it's in Ezekiel. It talks about how they whitewashed everything. Let me show you this. Right in our book. That they were going to whitewash everything. Is it chapter 22? Yes, it is. Ezekiel chapter 22. Verse 27, and her leaders in her midst are like wolves tearing the prey, to shed blood, to destroy lives, and get greedy gain. This is talking about YaHUsHa, melanated YaHUsHa. Her prophets, that is of YaHUsHa, have coated them with whitewash, seeing a false vision, divining a lie for them, saying, thus said the Master Yahuwah, when Yahuwah had not spoken. Our own people sold us out to whitewashing. They changed everything. This is why I say the white folks is not our enemy. The white folks is not our enemy. Our own people of the book brought this upon us. Stop pointing the finger at the white T-man, IUIC. You Hebrew Israelites. It's not the white T-man that did this to us. It was our ancestors. Point the finger at yourself. This is what he said that we are to do. Remember. When you confess the sins, the transgression of your ancestors and your transgressions, then I shall be found when you seek me with all of your heart and with all of your mind and with all of your being. Then I shall answer you from heaven. But as long as you blaming other folks for your mess, just like Adam was blaming Kahua, Eve, you're going to be stuck in your stupor. Stop looking at the white man. The white man didn't put you in this situation. Yeah, he overdid his punishment on you. And Yahuwah is going to deal with those people who did that. Not all Caucasians did that. The ones who did it, they got it coming. And the ones who taught that to their children, they got it coming. But the ones who broke that mold, like some of our mishpachah, who have inherited this truth with us, who would accept the name of Yahuwah, who would follow his commandments and keep his Shabbat, he says that they shall be accepted as one who was born in native, as a native one. They shall be accepted. But nope, some of you Hebrew Israelites want to go around and say, they're not one of us. Who is you? You have no place to put nobody. Don't matter what you think or what you feel or what you claim. Yahuwah says otherwise. He says the foreigner will be accepted if he keeps my Sabbath and he does not go against my agreement, my contract. But too many of you all are just stuck in skin color, paint jobs. You act as if you had a choice to come out of a womb of a woman who was melanated. You ain't got no choice. You have no power, no strength, no choice in the matter. What you do have a choice is if you're going to be obedient or not to his word. Everything that we share here is backed up by the word. Everything. Everything. Wow, how the time has flown by. So before I forget, for those of you who are meeting us for Pesach and for the first day of unleavened bread, we need your t-shirt sizes by tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last day. Pagan Day, March 2nd. For those of you who remember, I told you that March 2nd will be the cutoff date. You don't give us your size, you're not going to have a shirt. Or whatever shirt that we have, we hope that it fits. Okay? And for those of you who still have to give us the rest of your funds, not today. We know today is Shabbat. We don't do no money changing. I'm only bringing this up as an announcement. Please make sure you get your money in by tomorrow. Okay? We are now locked in to those Airbnbs. We cannot get a refund as of tomorrow. We are locked in. They might give us a partial, but we are literally locked in. Okay? Any other messages, or I should say announcements that I forgot that I haven't shared, Akis and Akodis, that are in the inner circle that's helping me put this together. If I forgot anything, please bring it up in the comments now. MJ Hubbard, great question. Is AI of Shaitan or is it being influenced? Both. Shaitan has created this image to cause it to both speak and cause all that would not worship the beast to be unalived. This is how they are going to keep track of every man, woman, and child, free and slave, rich and poor. There's nobody that's manning the computers. It is all AI technology that will say, this person did this person did that, this person didn't do this person didn't do that. And that image is going to be given power. That anyone who doesn't worship that image is going to be taken out. We see the same thing that's happening now, like we've been talking about with the cross. The Spanish and the Italian and the Portuguese, as we would just call it, the Catholic Inquisition. If you did not submit to the crown of the cross of the Pope from the Vatican City, and you did not give your allegiance to the Pope, and you defied the papacy, they took you out. This is what it talks about in Revelation 17. She was drunk by the blood of the saints. And it's still happening to this very day. Nothing changed, because that is the last empire. We are still under Roman occupation. It is the last kingdom until YaHUsHa cracks that sky. This is the fourth beast of the book of Daniel, the one that is. It has been since the days of our Mashiach. It is a serious situation that we are all finding ourselves in. But again, to those who have eyes to see, they're going to hear this message. Those who have ears to hear, they're going to receive this message. It is those of you who are still caught in the spell of Christianity and Islam. The wood and the stone, the wooden cross and the copper stone. You guys are in trouble. You guys are in some serious trouble unless you come out of her. And this is why you're getting ready to see what the Great Tribulation is all about. Satan has done a number on the world. The largest religion on the earth has been telling everyone it's the narrow way to everlasting life. The passages of the New Testament speaks against Christianity. He says there are few who shall find the way that leads to life. But here it is. The largest religion is the many, and has people thinking that it is going to take them to the narrow gate when they are the broad way, the wide way. This is why you have all these people, the Beyoncés and the Jay-Z's and the Kanye West, Marilyn Manson, football players, basketball players. They all profess, politicians alike, I'm a Christian. Gays and lesbians, all of them, all professing Jesus. Jesus, he gets us. Yes, he does get you. That is not the Messiah. That's your worldly false Messiah. That is the false Messiah. I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for allowing me to be able to shake everything that I got and get up here and talk to all of you people of the Grammy recipients. If it wasn't for Jesus, I wouldn't have been able to do this, to be able to curse and hang everything out from everything that I got, all my curves and everything that's shaking. Blasphemy. Straight up blasphemy. Well, Miss Baka, we have come to another end. Cody Lauren, I think you know that answer to yourself. I don't think I need to say yes to that question or no to that question. Miss Baka, as we begin another day tomorrow, may Abba YaHUsHa keep you. May he continue to reveal himself to you. May he barak you and your mishpachah, your family. May he continue to give us eyes to see and ears to hear. May he not remove our names out of the Lamb's book of life. And may he not take his ruach from us. May we continue to love the brethren of this amunah, of the kahunah. And may we continue to be shown to be doing the will of our Father. I want to thank all of you, Mishpachah, those of you that I've met and those of you that I have not met. Can't wait to meet some of you here coming up soon, Yahuwah willing. And remember, Mishpachah, may we continue to palal for one another. Let us keep each other in palal. And let us continue to try to meet that mark as one of the 144. Let us remove all the words that are displeasing to Yahuwah from our lips. May we continue to walk in his ways and not after the dictates of our heart. My name is Og Jimmy, also known as Brother Jimmy. And we, Mishpachah, are the ambassadors of Yahuwah. Until next time, Shalom, Mishpachah. Shalom.
The children of YaHUsHa roll straight out of the book. The scriptures, verses sharper than fishing hooks, snagging souls, taking tolls, leaving devils shook. ambassadors of YaH. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of YaH. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of YaH. Listen close, hear us, yeah. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of YaH. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of YaH. Listen close, hear us, yeah. Verses be thumping, shofars be blowing, beat be steady. Word power every hour, truth already. Blended deep secrets keep fools unsteady. We elevate till your fate be ready. No compromise. Open your eyes, see the light. Walk tall, stand strong with all your might. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of YaH. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of YaH. Listen close, hear us, yeah. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of YaH. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of YaH. Listen close, hear us, yeah. No compromise. Open your eyes, see the light. Walk tall, stand strong with all your might. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of YaH. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of YaH. Listen close.